Presently, Texas is building faster, bigger, and bolder than nearly every city in the world. From high-speed rail to billion-dollar superhighways and even massive energy hubs in the desert. These mega projects are reshaping the Lone Star State before our eyes. Today, we uncover Texas's most cutting-edge projects under construction and how they're becoming the blueprint for the future of America's infrastructure. Number 10. Harbor Bridge Replacement Project. Two towering white pillars now rise above Corpus Christi Bay, taller than any building in South Texas. Stretched between them are sleek, curved cables that hold up what's about to become the longest cable-stayed bridge in the entire United States. This is the new Harbor Bridge. It's a 6-lane structure that replaces the old arch bridge from the 1950s, and its center span stretches 1,661 feet, roughly 5.5 football fields. It's built high enough to let ships over 200 feet tall pass beneath, opening the way for some of the largest tankers serving America's busiest energy port. Before any steel went up, engineers had to drill deep into the soft Gulf Coast ground, over 100 feet down, into layers of clay, sand, and silt. They poured steel-reinforced concrete to hold everything steady, even during hurricanes. From there, the twin support towers, each 538 feet tall, began to rise. While that happened, giant concrete road segments were built off-site, hauled over, and lifted into place by massive gantries. Every stay cable was pulled tight using precision hydraulic jacks, keeping the growing bridge perfectly balanced, even through strong winds off the water. But the road to completion wasn't smooth. In 2019, inspectors discovered serious design flaws. They were tied to Fig Bridge engineers, the same company involved in the deadly collapse at Florida International University. FIGG was immediately removed from the project. New firms, Arup and Cowie, stepped in to redesign critical parts, which paused construction for almost 2 years. A fresh agreement in 2023 added $400 million to the budget, pushing the total cost to around $1.2 billion. Even with all that, the bridge's midspan was finally connected in January. Right now, it's on track to open to the public in 2025, 5 years behind schedule, but still ahead of hurricane season. To make sure this investment lasts, the entire bridge is built to stand strong for 170 years. Inside the concrete and cables are smart sensors that constantly check for stress, heat, and movement. This means engineers can catch problems early, long before drivers ever notice. Once it's open, the Harbor Bridge will do a lot more than carry cars. It will deepen the ship channel for next-generation tankers, help people evacuate faster during storms, and give Corpus Christi a stunning new icon. At night, the bridge will glow with programmable lights, and during the day, it'll offer a wide walkway with panoramic views for bikers and walkers. Number 9. Port Arthur LNG Terminal. Just outside Port Arthur, Texas, along the Sabine-Neches Waterway, over 3,000 acres of marshland are being turned into one of the biggest energy projects on the entire Gulf Coast. It's called Port Arthur LNG, and it's backed by a massive $13 billion. After years of planning, full construction began in March 2023. In its first phase, the site will run 2 liquefaction trains. These trains will cool natural gas to nearly minus 260 degrees Fahrenheit, cold enough to turn it into liquid, and together they'll produce about 13 million tons of LNG every year. At the center of it all are 2 full containment storage tanks, each capable of holding 160,000 cubic meters of this ultra-cold fuel. Before anything could be built, the ground had to be ready. Crews had to clear out coastal brush, then stabilize the soft Gulf soil by mixing it with lime and cement. They drove steel and concrete piles more than 100 feet down into the earth to reach firm layers strong enough to support heavy equipment like compressors, turbines, and storage tanks. By May this year, most of the foundational work was done. Concrete slabs were set, steel frames started rising, and dredging resumed at the ship berth so the port can handle massive LNG carriers once operations begin. Nothing about this project is simple. Huge machines like turbo expanders and cryogenic heat exchangers arrive on giant trailers, then have to be placed exactly right using laser alignment. The pipes that connect everything are made from special metal to survive extreme cold and high pressure. Every weld is tested using ultrasound or X-ray, and every section is built with safety in mind. Blast-resistant control rooms, thick safety walls, and emergency shutdown valves are everywhere. The size of this workforce is enormous. Up to 1,500 workers are expected on site each month during the 4.5-year construction schedule. And as more large modules arrive from fabrication yards by barge and by truck, that number will only grow. But with a project this big, there are also serious risks. On April 29th this year, part of a jump form system on one of the tanks collapsed. 3 workers were killed, and construction was shut down while investigations took place. Work resumed after new safety protocols and training were added. Even with that setback, the project is still on time and budget according to developer Sempra. Train 1 is expected to start commercial operations in 2027, and Train 2 will follow a year later. Regulators have already approved Phase 2, which would double output to about 26 million tons a year if it moves forward. That means once it's up and running, Port Arthur LNG could be loading a new ship every 3 days, sending American gas to countries all across Europe and Asia. When that first shipment leaves the dock, it won't just mark the launch of a new export terminal. It'll mean long-term jobs for Jefferson County, a major new outlet for U.S. energy, and a stronger supply line for buyers around the world. Number 8. Waterline Tower. Right next to Lady Bird Lake and Waller Creek, something huge is climbing into the Austin skyline. It's called the Waterline, and when it's done, it won't just be the tallest building in the city, it'll be the tallest in all of Texas. Built by Lincoln Property Company and Kilroy Residential, construction started in late 2022, and by mid-June this year, the tower had already passed 70 floors. Crews say it will top out at 77 stories by the end of 2025, and once the spire hits 1,022 feet in height, it will officially surpass Houston's J.P. Morgan Chase Tower and rank as the 24th tallest building in the country. This isn't just a tall building, it's a stacked city. At the base, there's a grand lobby with 24,000 square feet of retail and restaurants. Above that sits a 13-floor luxury hotel with 251 rooms under the One Hotel brand. Then come 27 floors of top-tier office space, over 700,000 square feet, with sweeping lake views that tech and finance firms are lining up for. At the top, there are 352 high-end apartments with floor-to-ceiling windows looking out over Austin. Altogether, the Waterline adds about 1.5 million square feet of brand new space downtown. Building something this tall in downtown Austin isn't easy. The ground here is soft, so workers poured concrete non-stop for 4 days to create a 10-foot thick foundation slab. That's tied into deep piers that stretch more than 100 feet down into solid limestone. The tower's structure relies on a high-strength concrete core, plus 2 stiffening floors and steel trusses wrapped around the edges to resist high winds blowing through the river valley. Meanwhile, every glass panel on the outside is pre-built and lifted into place by cranes at night to avoid blocking daytime traffic on Cesar Chavez Street. But Waterline isn't just about height, it's about connection. The project includes a new pedestrian bridge across Waller Creek, linking the Waterloo Greenway with Rainey Street and expanding Austin's hike and bike trails. It's also aiming for LEED Silver certification with rainwater tanks, triple glazed glass, and smart HVAC systems to reduce energy use as the city grows. At peak, more than 1,600 construction workers are on site each day. And once it opens, The hotel, offices, and shops are expected to support more than 1,500 permanent jobs. If everything stays on schedule, the lights at the very top of the Waterline will switch on by fall 2026, officially making Austin home to the tallest building in Texas. Number 7. Stargate AI/data centers. Just north of Abilene, a massive AI campus is rising, and it's unlike anything Texas has seen before. Spread across 875 acres, this site is part of a larger tech initiative called Stargate. Once complete, it will hold 8 enormous data halls, each one around 500,000 square feet. Together, they'll use about 1.2 gigawatts of electricity, enough to power nearly 1 million homes. By mid-2026, this single campus is expected to be one of the most powerful AI data centers on Earth. The project is backed by tech giants SoftBank, OpenAI, and Oracle, as part of a $500 billion plan to build AI infrastructure across the country. The Abilene site is the first phase and carries an eye-watering $15 billion price tag. In May, developers secured a $7.1 billion construction loan, and things have moved fast since then. Crusoe, the lead contractor based in Denver, began site prep last summer. 2 buildings already have steel frames in place, and the remaining 6 are now on an accelerated schedule. All of this depends on stable, non-stop power. To handle the load, the site will get its own natural gas power plant, backed up by industrial-scale batteries. There's also room for solar panels and possibly even small modular nuclear reactors in the future. The campus will run on its own private grid, avoiding stress on Texas's main ERCOT system, while feeding power to tens of thousands of NVIDIA Blackwell GPUs. And even though it sounds massive, the water use is surprisingly efficient. A closed-loop cooling system will recycle most of the water it pulls from the city line, helping conserve West Texas's limited resources. At its peak, construction will involve nearly 3,000 workers and generate more than 11 million hours of labor. But long-term jobs will be fewer, just 57 full-time roles inside the facility. Still, Abilene officials expect the ripple effect to be huge. Local businesses, suppliers, and service providers will all benefit. The city also offered an 85% tax break for 20 years to help land the deal, betting that the economic impact will stretch far beyond the building itself. If everything stays on track, the first 2 halls will go live early next year. By the end of 2026, this quiet patch of prairie could become the brain of America's AI future, processing the world's fastest-growing models and turning Abilene into an unexpected powerhouse in the global tech race. Number 6. Golden Triangle Polymers Project. In Orange County, Texas, right between Beaumont and Port Arthur, something massive is rising from what used to be quiet pasture land. It's called Golden Triangle Polymers, an $8.5 billion megaproject led by Chevron Phillips Chemical and Qatar Energy. The goal is to turn Texas ethane into high-quality polyethylene, the kind used in medical supplies, packaging, electronics, and nearly every part of modern life. Construction kicked off in early 2023. Since then, crews have removed tens of thousands of cubic yards of soil and reinforced the ground using deep soil mixing and heavy surcharge mounds. That's because the site sits on soft Gulf Coast clay, and everything from furnaces to storage tanks needs solid footing. Now, concrete slabs and support piles stretch more than 100 feet underground to lock the entire plant in place. At the core of the site is one of the world's biggest ethane steam crackers. 8 giant furnaces will heat ethane past 1,500 degrees Fahrenheit, breaking it apart to produce ethylene gas. That gas then rushes through cool-down towers, massive compressors, and separators. At full capacity, the cracker will produce just over 2 million metric tons of ethylene every year, putting it among the largest single-line facilities anywhere. That ethylene moves downstream into 2 polymer units housed in steel buildings. Inside, machines called extruders and pelletizers turn the gas into tiny polyethylene pellets, roughly 2 million tons of them per year. These machines arrive fully built on skids, are laser-aligned into place, and are connected by miles of high-grade metal piping. Every weld is X-rayed. Every pipeline is pressure-tested. Nothing moves forward without a green light. To move all that product, the site has its own rail yard, truck racks, and a pipeline that connects directly to the Sabine-Neches waterway. Power is delivered through a high-voltage substation, while thousands of digital sensors send data to a central control room strong enough to handle hurricane-force winds. The cracker's heat recovery system also helps cut emissions by about 25% compared to similar plants across North America and Europe. Right now, more than 4,000 workers are on site. They're pouring concrete, installing modules, and running electrical cable trays that stretch for miles. When the plant opens in 2026, over 500 full-time employees will run it, bringing long-term jobs and stability to the Golden Triangle. And once production begins, Southeast Texas will gain another major player in global manufacturing. The world will have a new, cleaner, high-output source of the polyethylene that keeps everything from hospitals to smartphones running. Number 5. Universal Kids Resort. Just north of Dallas, Frisco is about to trade cow pastures for pure magic. That's where Universal Destinations and Experiences is building Universal Kids Resort, the company's very first theme park built specifically for young families. It spans 97 acres, with a 38-acre theme park at the heart of it, a hotel with up to 600 rooms, and a parking lot that can hold more than 4,000 cars. Construction kicked off in November 2023, and by spring this year, steel beams were already rising for the park's signature roller coaster and colorful main entrance. Balfour Beatty is leading the $550 million build, while Moss Utilities is handling the underground work. Frisco's new Universal Parkway is also being built to connect the park with the city's major roads, and it's all aiming for a grand opening in May 2026, just as FIFA World Cup visitors begin arriving in North Texas. Inside the gates, the resort will be packed with 7 themed zones circling a central lagoon. There's Gabby's Dollhouse, Trolls Pop Village, Shrek's Far Far Away, Minionland Jurassic World, Camp Cretaceous, Bikini Bottom with SpongeBob, and a Puss in Boots Adventure Plaza. Think more fun than fear. River rides, mini coasters, spinning teacups, and carousels that make the whole place feel like a dreamland for kids. The layout is compact, just 1/4 the size of Universal Orlando, which means families can enjoy the full park without miles of walking. Shaded walkways, mist fans, and sensory gardens are all part of the design. Even the food will match the fun. Swampy stews in Shrek's Land, or undersea treats in SpongeBob's world. The economic boost is already real. Nearly 3,000 construction workers are expected to clock over 11 million hours before opening day. Once the park is running, hundreds of new jobs in hospitality, food, retail, and maintenance will follow. To help bring the project to life, Frisco offered an 85% property tax break for 20 years, betting that the global buzz and tourist traffic will pay off many times over. If everything stays on schedule, the first ride tests will begin next summer. And by spring 2026, Universal Kids Resort will open its doors, planting Texas firmly on the map of world-class family theme parks. Number 4. Tesla's Giga Texas expansion. Tesla's massive factory in Austin, Texas already covers around 10 million square feet, but that's not enough. In June 2025, construction crews broke ground again, this time to add more than 5 million square feet of brand new space. That's half the size of the original factory, tacked on to support even more production. New halls, office space, and break areas are all included. And with that kind of expansion, Tesla clearly expects to grow beyond the 21,000 employees it already has working across Central Texas. The work started with heavy excavation near the Colorado River. The land was graded flat, and crews drilled deep concrete piers to keep everything stable in Austin's soft, clay-heavy soil. Lime-treated fill and layers of geotextile mesh were added to lock the building pads into place. Steel beams and columns arrived pre-cut and ready, lifted into place by cranes and bolted together in just hours, creating huge open areas with no support columns in the way. These spaces will make room for high-speed robotics and driverless vehicles that move parts and cars on their own. Inside the factory, new utility lines are being run every day. Electricians are laying high-voltage cables, and plumbers are installing compressed air systems and cooling loops to serve the new paint booths, body shops, and Cybertruck production lines. Beneath the floors, dedicated trenches carry power and data to fleets of autonomous Model Y yard vehicles that move finished cars out to shipping zones without a human driver. Over in the battery wing, Tesla's newest 4680 cell production just hit a major cost milestone. Their in-house battery packs are now cheaper per kilowatt-hour than anything they buy from outside suppliers. To keep all this moving smoothly, Tesla signed a new lease in May for a 300,000 square foot warehouse at Austin Hills Commerce Center, about 6 miles away. This site will serve as a logistics hub, moving stamped panels, seats, and battery parts back and forth. Tesla also filed a permit to build new break rooms, training centers, and quiet zones inside the factory itself. That permit alone is worth $250,000, and it's focused on making the space more comfortable for workers, especially during Texas's extreme heat. And as expected from Tesla, the expansion includes green features. The new buildings will have rooftop solar panels, tanks to collect rainwater, and LED skylights to reduce daytime energy use. Once construction wraps up in late 2026, Giga Texas will cover more than 15 million square feet, making it one of the biggest single manufacturing sites in all of North America. It will also become a key part of Tesla's bigger goal: to produce cars, batteries, and structural parts in one place with full automation and almost no delays. Number 3. Terminal B modernization, George Bush Intercontinental Airport. Terminal B at Houston's George Bush Intercontinental Airport is getting completely rebuilt from the ground up. It's the oldest part of the airport, and now it's going through a $2.6 billion transformation that'll be finished by late 2026. United Airlines and the Houston airport system are investing big, adding 40 new gates, taller and wider concourses, and a sleek glass-fronted lobby that'll be able to handle up to 36 million passengers a year. That's about 40% more than it does today. Because the terminal was first built in the 1960s, crews had to strip it down completely. They worked mostly at night, so flights could continue during the day. They removed old materials, tore out outdated jet bridges, and installed new foundations with deep-drilled piers to deal with Houston's famously unstable clay soil. By spring this year, steel frames for the new north and south concourses were rising fast, built strong enough to handle hurricane-force winds. The outer shell of the building will include more than 1,300 energy-efficient glass panels, all part of a plan to earn LEED Silver certification. Inside, workers are putting in high-tech systems like variable-speed chillers, LED lighting, and a smart building control platform. The gates are being designed with dual boarding bridges, so they can serve both smaller regional jets and larger aircraft at the same time. Outside, they're adding new fuel pits, stormwater systems, and de-icing hookups to speed up turnaround times. And inside, the old baggage belts are being replaced with a high-speed conveyor system that uses RFID tracking to move bags faster and more accurately. While all this is happening, Terminal B's main lobby is closed. Since February, passengers flying out of Terminal B have had to check in at Terminal C, go through security there, and take the Skyway train back to their gate. The airport recommends arriving at least 2 hours early to make sure there's time to get through it all. When the new terminal opens in fall 2026, travelers will walk into a much better space. There'll be wider seating areas with built-in USB-C chargers, more spacious restrooms, and a brand new United Club that's more than twice the size of the old one. Security will be faster too, thanks to next-gen body scanners and automated bin return systems. Clearer signage will help passengers move through the space without confusion. Once complete, the new Terminal B will become a state-of-the-art hub for United Airlines and regional carriers, designed to move millions of people a year with more comfort, speed, and style than ever before. Number 2. Rio Grande LNG Export Terminal. Along the Brownsville Ship Channel, construction crews are transforming an old shrimp boat shoreline into one of the largest liquefied natural gas terminals on Earth. It's called Rio Grande LNG, and it's being led by Houston-based Next Decade. After securing an $18 billion financing deal last year, full construction officially kicked off in the fall. Phase 1 alone includes 3 liquefaction trains, which will freeze and ship out up to 17.6 million tons of LNG every year, enough to power over 40 million homes around the world. And this is just the beginning. In a major update, Next Decade signed 2 more contracts with Bechtel, worth $9.1 billion, to build trains 4 and 5. Once those are running, the terminal will produce more than 29 million tons of LNG each year, with total investment climbing close to $30 billion. Getting all this off the ground is a massive effort. Bechtel's workers have already driven over 11,000 piles deep into the coastal ground and poured a concrete base larger than 20 football fields to support the first cryogenic tank. To keep things moving fast, a new hiring center opened in Brownsville, and at peak, the site will employ up to 5,000 skilled workers. Behind the scenes, power and water are critical. Each train needs 600 megawatts of electricity, which will come from a new substation hooked into ERCOT's South Zone grid. And to cut down on waste, the plant uses a closed-loop cooling system that recycles over 80% of its water, which is important in this dry region. The schedule is tight. Train 1 is expected to go live in early 2027, with the 5th train starting up by 2029. Long-term contracts are already signed. JERA in Japan, ENGIE in France, and ENN in China have all committed to 20-year deals, covering more than 80% of Phase 1's output. For Cameron County, the benefits are huge. Over the next 40 years, the project is expected to generate $1.6 billion in local tax revenue and create more than 300 permanent jobs. In short, Rio Grande LNG is putting Brownsville on the global energy map and giving Texas yet another edge in the race to deliver cleaner burning fuel at a massive scale. Number 1. Loop 1604. Expansion. Loop 1604 has long been a source of frustration for San Antonio drivers, but that could soon change. TxDOT is in the middle of a massive overhaul, pouring more than $1 billion into a full upgrade of the city's northern beltway. The project covers 23 miles, stretching from State Highway 16 on the west side all the way to Interstate 35 in the northeast. Once finished, the highway will expand from just 4 lanes to 10, 2 lanes in each direction. High occupancy lanes in the middle, and brand new frontage roads lining both sides. It all kicked off back in spring 2021 with the I-10 interchange, one of the busiest junctions in the city. Crews worked through the night to tear down old flyovers and install 4 new ramps using massive modular transporters. That section alone cost $340 million and opened to drivers this past February. Now all eyes are on the area between US 281 and Redland Road. Bulldozers have already moved more than 1 million cubic yards of soil, and workers are pouring concrete for 8 new overpasses. It's all happening while traffic continues to move. Every night, lanes are squeezed down, barriers are shifted, and by morning rush hour, cars are flowing, just at slower speeds around 45 miles per hour. New drainage systems have also been added to help control flooding during heavy Gulf Coast storms, feeding runoff into 3 newly built detention ponds. On top of that, the project brings added paths for bikes and pedestrians along the frontage roads, plus a park-and-ride hub at Stone Oak that will serve VIA's future express bus network. Everything is getting a tech upgrade too. LED lights throughout, and electronic signs that warn of traffic delays in real time. According to TxDOT, the section between Highway 16 and US 281 will be done by late 2026, with the final stretch to I-35 wrapping up in 2027. Once complete, Loop 1604 will handle up to 250,000 cars daily, cutting down on congestion and giving drivers back some of the 40 hours a year they currently lose stuck in traffic. Thanks for watching. See you in our next video.